With such an array of health fads available, it's a relief to know that the ideal tools for healing and health have always been available at home. Hi, I am Christine Lynn Stormer-Fra, also known as Chris Stormer, the Universal Foot Lady. Many years ago, I channeled through at home with mind, body, and soul. And although I have shared this amazing information through presentations worldwide, only now have I made time to do these videos. The advantage of being considered off the wall is that I am known to entertain bizarre notions acquired from universal insights and shared by using my hand-drawn charts from my presentations, along with cartoon diagrams inspired by Google to reveal some handy and incredible DIY tools available. When it comes to family and society, the temptation is to follow in other people's footsteps, despite being an individual. It's enough already being at home with family and a host of ancestors, as well as all of society, since humans are one big family. The parts of the home connected to kin and influenced by society affect personal security, stability, mobility, expansion, growth, and development, all based on a familiar foundation of inherent but often outdated beliefs. Uneasiness arises when trying to be the person that family and society expect, rather than being authentic. Secure could also mean see the cure. Once secure in the home, it is so much easier to be open-minded and adaptable. As soon as uncertainty steps in, though, the urge to become dogmatic, trying to force others into one's own way of thinking, alarms the body's bones and muscles, intensified by increased security in the home as gates become impenetrable, walls become higher, fences are electrified, security cameras are installed throughout, and so on. Ironically, it is often insecure souls who choose occupations in security, but unless baffling family issues are resolved, security concerns will continue to crop up. Not only do anger and frustration make many see red, but can also turn the face red. Shocking red is associated with an eclectic assortment of emotions, ranging from fury, engendering violence, to love, inspiring passion. Either way, it certainly commands attention. Frequently used to indicate danger and universally used to mean stop, it is also associated with action and energy. Red is invariably linked to family and society, as well as linked to the base chakra. It requires great determination to keep on going when prevented from moving forward, which hinges on the jaw and the chin. Both have vital roles in eating, speaking, breathing, and even sleeping, and affect the face's appearance. Linked to the body's joints and all the hinges throughout the home, any creaks, groans, or squeaks may indicate too much high-pitched whining, screeching, grumbles, and moans, expressed or unexpressed, that definitely require fixing and lubricating for the situation to be eased. When men don't shave, a 5 o'clock shadow is likely to appear around the jawline and on the chin. 5 has several spiritual connotations, stemming from 3 being the male and 2 the female, from which humankind emerged, forming one big family. It's the number of harmony and divine grace, and spiritually encourages travel, adventure, and motion. The wee little family toes are connected to the body's structure and mobility, as well as the excretory and reproductive organs. Out on the sidelines, these naturally spirited and adventurous parts of the feet know no bounds, until kinfolk and society step in with rules and regulations. When this happens, the inclination is to shy away from the limelight or hold back. Yet, despite everything, it seems that their main function is to make sure that all the furniture is in place. The pinky fingers, also referred to as the air fingers, are distant relatives of the little toes. A ring on these digits symbolizes anything from marriage to heritage, pride, to the mafia, and generally make a seriously stunning statement. Believed to ward off unwanted affections, it also signifies power, success, and wealth, a concept popularized during the Victorian era by British nobles and royalty. Pinky rings worn by the mafia members provide business associates with funds for funeral expenses should something happen to them on the job, as well as for identification purposes. Family roots go back eons, with ancestral properties frequently being at the center of family feuds. Inheriting a family home or belongings, such as furniture, heirlooms, and so on, comes at a price, should any dense, stagnant energy still be residing inside. Also, homes bursting at the seams with memorabilia and antiques prevents new energy, with old habits dying hard. The reluctance to replace tattered, worn out, or broken belongings may stem from a disadvantaged childhood or inherent beliefs of deprivation, particularly from the war years. Fixing or letting go of anything past its heyday creates an opportunity to start afresh. Rifts over inheritance and other fractious family matters tend to cause the heels to dry and crack up, particularly when relentlessly dug in. During the process of evolution, the heels, the largest bone in the feet, drop to the ground to support the body's weight, relying on the element of earth to keep the toes firmly on the ground for ongoing stability and mobility. Acting as the body's shock absorbers and bearing the brunt of hefty family issues, heels are all about belonging and having a place in the family and society, along with cultural traditions and childhood. Starting at the beginning, everybody's first home for around 9 or so months is the mother's or surrogate's womb. While accommodated in this watery environment, there is an intimate awareness of her every thought, emotion, action, and reaction. When uptight, her muscles clamp down on the cozy little womb, causing it to become very cramped and unpleasant. As food supplies become rationed, and in extreme circumstances, the fetus is swamped and forced to swallow its own feces, an indication that life on the home front is challenging. With no feasible escape route, some desperate souls prematurely evacuate before time. Otherwise, once out in the big, wide world, the home becomes symbolic of the womb. Childhood memories of home linger throughout life, no matter how privileged or horrendous. The trick is not to dwell in the past, but to grab opportunities in the here and now, and to become authentic and inspirational. Just as there are no incurable diseases, there are no inherited diseases, only inherited beliefs that can be changed or stopped before being carried through to any future generations. It's not just in the womb that the cramped feeling is experienced, but also at home, when over the years worthless stuff is accumulated and hung on to due to a lack of self-worth. Clutter on the floor keeps energy down and invariably causes depression. Once life events have been digested, the indigestible and rejected matter is moved on by the extensive range of highly effective excretory organs, which contain all bodily waste until ready to be dumped, just like waste paper baskets, trash bins, refuge collection area, and so on. Taking the browns to the Super Bowl to defecate in the toilet is ultimately what it's all about. How long a minute is all depends on which side of the bathroom door you are on. At the shitty end of the deal, literally, are the rectum and the anus, responsible for evacuating and expelling the rougher, putrid aspects of life before any more time or energy is wasted, and to prevent the body and the home from becoming a dump. The relief is enormous unless emotional pressure piles up in the form of hemorrhoids and gets in the way, or attempting to divert fecal matter and find other outlets, resulting in diverticulitis. Keeping the back passage clear and clean, both in the body and home, assists in easing rectal and anal disorders. Taking trash to the dump and having a dump are much the same thing. The ability to let go of the rougher aspects of life is that much easier when having a good old clear out in the home, moving on unused and broken articles. After all, the toilet is the best seat in the house, with the royal flush 5 of a kind. Closing the toilet lid when not in use is essential for staying flush and also helps contain unpleasant whiffs from the past. Refusal to relinquish the past makes it difficult to remove the buildup of waste matter in the body, with constipation against stipulation, constipulation, blocking the way out. Helping the excretory system do its job is housework through brushing, clearing, washing, dusting, and polishing up its act. Intentional cleaning, even if it's getting rid of one little thing serving no purpose but taking up valuable space, is well worthwhile, as well as adopting a simple daily practice of putting things away or clearing a small area to shift stagnant energy in the home and the body. It also helps to clear the head, open the heart, and soothe the nerves. Meanwhile, the derriere often feels that it has a bum deal, as do many youngsters and workmen in particular, displaying their woes and exposing the bum above low-hanging trousers. Likewise, chairs, alive with consciousness, frequently feel dumped upon, passing the brunt on to future occupants unless the seat is cleared of unwanted energies. The bowels of the home are in the basement and symbolic of the subconscious mind. Out of sight, out of mind. The basement is frequently where a lot of stuff gets shoved and discarded and is invariably forgotten. A repressed area of the home, dark secrets and ghostly tales are likely to take up residence here, often curbing the home's energy in sinister ways from top to bottom. Endless divisions within the family can cause the foundations to crumble, while serious cracks in the home structure can point to constant fault-finding or rifts. The floor does its best to continually provide solid foundation, like the pelvis does for the body, while both love offering the stability to confidently move ahead and expand. Earth is the essence linked to family, with many ancestors having been laid to rest beneath the ground, although the energy of their remains continues to have a profound impact. Unwelcome dust, symbolizing unresolved family issues, is often swept under the carpet, concealing some basic home truths. It's no wonder that there are so many dust allergies and bad reactions experienced by the generations who follow. Wiping the slate clean and making a fresh start is a great way of getting on and enjoying the present. Much can be done to restore energy, such as rewiring, recovering, redesigning, restoring, reconnecting, restructuring, and recycling, using the old to regenerate the new, as well as repairing broken relationships, reconstructing and modernizing projects to bring them up to date, refurbishing the mind with innovative ideas, and revamping the body through a health regime that keeps everything in good working order and functioning at their peak. New exciting concepts, assisted by the reproductive organs, can then replenish the soul. All this requires structural support. In the body, this is a superb collection of finely balanced bones, giving it a substantial framework and bringing it to life. Likewise, the skeletal framework of a home takes on a considerable amount of load bearing, and along with its many connections, provides an ideal alignment. Bones love to be one of a kind, just like homes love to be admired and stand out as exceptional. Meanwhile, muscles love it when the whole family pull their weight and muscle in to build a strong family unit. As the mind stretches and expands, muscles become increasingly flexible, with the fluidity of their movements keeping everything in top form, liberating the physique and freeing the spirit. Whether hair extensions or home extensions, the success of an extension depends on the adaptability and flexibility of the owners and the occupants in extending their minds. Interestingly, the word extension could imply the release of tension through expansion, allowing muscles to then put the oomph into anything worthwhile. Concrete evidence is frequently required to make some things plausible. Produced from two or more constituent materials, the individual elements remain separate and distinct, rather like a family unit made up of so many different characteristics, but when close-knit are bound together, with everyone knowing their place and backing each other up. As earthbound beings, it's natural to gravitate towards those with familiar family issues dating back many generations. With skin reflecting kin, issues lingering beneath the surface for longer than necessary tend to agitate and get under the skin, unless something worthwhile is done for once and for all. Just as a transplant requires matching tissues to resolve familiar outstanding issues in the tissues, i.e. the tissues, paintwork representing the skin requires matching colors for the best results. Paint flakes, cracks, or peels when relationships with the kin become a tad flaky or crack up or are no longer appealing. Keeping paintwork up to scratch is the best way to maintain the home's appearance, as well as to ease skin issues. Family affairs invariably surface when relatives visit, especially if their presence causes discord and tension. People like fish go off after 3 days, maybe sooner if a lot of stuff is churned up. Keeping the peace is all well and good, but if it entails a lot of pretense, it can get to boiling point and erupt. Far better to get things out into the open early and improve the situation, because whatever requires improving at home is a good indicator of improvements required in life. A move up the ladder and increase in income makes home improvements more feasible and the opportunity to step out of old paradigms into new ones. Every step up the rung is a step that allows more to be achieved, elevating the spirits and fulfilling the soul. All belongings are connected to its owner by strands of energy imprinted on the article, whether clothing, jewelry, a book, and so on, until it is given away or sold. The unconscious gathering and intense clinging on to a massive amount of material objects to feel more secure and comfortable frequently fails to add value to life and seldom fulfills deep inner longing. The fear of the empty space never being filled intensifies the attachment. Giving away souvenirs may feel like erasing the memory, or concern that loved ones will feel hurt if their gifts are not kept, or a conviction that unused possessions are a form of protection from uncertainties of the unknown future and will be of use one day, are understandable. But hanging on keeps energy stuck in the past, along with any associated pain, anger, or resentment. Cultures with fewer material belongings are more spiritually intact. Most people know that stealing is wrong, yet people still do it, whether due to kleptomania, financial difficulties, an addiction, unable to provide for the family, or being in the wrong crowd and succumbing to peer pressure. It all boils down to the need to fill an emotional gap and resolve feelings of deprivation. A theft or a break-in can also be seen as a breakthrough if the victim realizes how they are robbing themselves of something, be it self-worth, time, energy, stuff, and so on. So the thief is inadvertently drawing attention to something crucial and ultimately doing the victim a favor. A floor plan shows the layout of a home, typically illustrating the location of walls, windows, doors, and stairs, as well as fixed installations such as bathroom fixtures, kitchen, etc. Floor plans are important to show the relationship between rooms and spaces. Likewise, the body has an anatomical layout, with every organ, gland, and cell knowing its place. Adorning the floors, rugs, and other soft furnishings show the amount of cosseting required in the home, while also reflecting the occupant's tactile nature, although they also accumulate energy from any carping on with a load of complaining, moaning, grumbling, nagging, and criticizing that gets stuck in the weave along with the dirt, mainly from shoes. Talking of dirt, in times gone by and even today in the poorer parts of the world, the floor is made from dirt. Hence the saying, dirt poor and dirt cheap. The wealthy had slate floors that would get slippery when wet, so thresh, in other words straw, was spread over the surface to help keep their footing, while a piece of wood, known as the threshold, was placed in the entranceway to contain the straw. In ancient times, marriage was by capture, so the reluctant bride was either dragged or carried into her husband's home. Later, the belief that family demons pursued the bride to her new home had the groom carrying her into the home the first time she entered, so that she could not be followed and could then come and go. Nowadays, decisions as to what to carry over the thresholds are not always welcome. The phrase also has other meanings, including exceeding a certain level or limit, as with a credit card. The home, as well as the body organs, have walls, such as the uterine wall, producing extra layers when feeling vulnerable and taken advantage of, known as endometriosis. Walls crumble in the home when the back is against the wall, or climbing the walls, or hitting the head against the brick wall in utter frustration, or when taking no notice of the writing on the wall and constant warnings given. Kiddies love drawing on the wall, possibly to spell out something that the parents aren't picking up. Conflicts between the sensitive woman and the actions of the man become increasingly obvious when differences come to the fore. This impacts the replication of humans through reproduction, a process reliant on a committed male principle inspired by father-son, and a more passive female principle grounded by Mother Earth. Women get the egg, known as the ova, and the uterus, symbolic of the home, while men get the big head, the sperm, which must work its little tail off to compete with others to succeed. New concepts in the mind inspire concepts in the body. The more innovative, the better. The pen is representative of the male member, the penis, so running out of ink and becoming impotent can be challenging, especially after retirement, when no longer feeling important and unable to rise to non-occasions. As for men's underwear, production in the family jewel factory is hampered when scrunched up against the hot bod. Preferring to dingle-dangle in fresh air, boxer shorts are more their style, giving the testes space to test new ground which they love. Conflicts over money is common, particularly when love of money, at the root of all evil, is used to hurt and destroy. Yet money cannot buy happiness, since happiness and sadness are opposames, whether impoverished or wealthy. Guilt about having money curbs the wealth-building potential, but with wealth, worthy causes can inspire and serve thousands. The key is to handle money with the utmost care and respect by first clearing the clutter, like receipts and bits of paper, from the wallet or purse, then putting the money neatly back, making sure all notes are crease-free and placed facing forward in numerical order. Money, symbolic of self-worth, is the vehicle that translates dreams and aspirations into form. When driven crazy by ridiculous notions, or over the edge by going too far, or to despair with hopelessness, or up the wall with frustration, or driven to drink with exasperation, or nuts with foolishness, check to see who is at the steering wheel. The body is the vehicle that moves the mind and soul through life, while the car is the vehicle that allows the body to move that much faster. Describing one's car, affections towards it, how well it works and performs, its cleanliness, what's going on in the back seat and in the boot, provides incredible insight into the relationship with men. After all, the car is man's pride and joy. Lying with the back on the roof, the right side reveals the past and the left side the present. The two front seats drive the engine of the mind, influencing the emotions, while the back seat is indicative of communications and relationships. Whatever is in the boot, also known as the trunk, divulges a great deal about family affairs. Big cars, particularly those with loud exhausts, are frequently purchased as penis enhancers, with the owners hating anything or anybody getting in the way, hence the increase in road rage, not just among men, but also women. All the rigid rules, inflexible regulations, and unreasonable limitations are enough to drive anybody crazy, with rude and verbal insults, yelling, physical threats, or dangerous driving being an outlet for the outrage. Targeted at other drivers, pedestrians, or cyclists is a sign of how intimidated the driver feels. Back home, the space to put the car to bed is the garage, unless it has become a junk hole. Symbolic of the womb, yet continually dumped upon, says a lot about the treatment of the women of the home. With clutter multiplying, it's difficult for the garage and the woman to fulfill their duties, although some good inventions have been born in the garage, invariably at the expense of the car parked outside. Getting the knickers in a twist and becoming overly emotional and irate or unduly angry and agitated over something relatively trivial is of no help. It just highlights the mental confusion. Knickers, short for knickerbockers, were originally baggy trousers gathered at the knee or just below, initially worn by men, until becoming part of women's fashion. Usually worn as sportswear, particularly among golfers and female cyclists, they became known as pedal pushers. A useful tool in understanding how children feel at home is to ask them to draw their feet on a piece of paper and then color them in. Bearing in mind symbology and the natural resonance of color on the feet, it is possible to pick up what's going on emotionally at a much deeper level. Red, connected to family, relates to the heels and security. Orange is linked to relationships and depicted in the lower halves of the soul in steps. Yellow highlights actions and reactions revealed in the upper halves of the soul in steps. Green mirrors emotions portrayed onto the balls of the feet. Blue is the color of expression picked up by the toe necks, and purple represents thoughts and ideas relayed by the toes. So, for example, yellow crossing the lines into the red family area is conveying frustration at something happening out of bounds, and so on. People popping in may be a welcome relief or an absolute burden, depending on the time and the purpose of their visit. If continually on the take and constantly borrowing stuff, a neediness may have gone unnoticed at home. Clutter lying around can be an embarrassment, so much so that the thought of anyone visiting is dreaded. The backyard is frequently used to dump rubbish as well as being led down the garden path. Thankfully, patios and porches are gaining popularity, providing additional personal space and making it possible to cultivate a family garden with each member being nurtured, fed with love and tended with care. When it comes to the family tree, it is a symbol of antiquity, integrated with immense and enduring strength and offering ongoing protection. With the tree's body rooted in the ground and its crown dancing in the sky, its nurturing energies can be appreciated by giving it a great big and loving hug. All the rejuvenating DIY tools for fixing and refreshing mind, body, and soul are constantly available through appreciation and release, admiration and respect, as well as affection and caring. Tapping into inborn resources assists in accompanying the soul's desire, along with accepting others for who and what they are, while approving and honoring the self for being different, to make a world of difference. If you'd like to explore this more, please go to my website, www.alwaysbewithoutthee.com, where you will find information on the 9 books that I have already written on the subject of reflexology, channeling, and the language of the feet, as well as the emotional and spiritual aspects. Remember, healing and health are only 2 feet away.